Hello and welcome to Take Time. I'm your host, Patrick Marlett. Today we're taking a look at one energetic chronograph. Though there are many like it within its range, none share that same rebellious nature as the Saxon one in Racing Red. This is the latest chronograph by German-based brand Tutima, one with a rich heritage in aviation watch design, and the Saxon is an extension to that line. Disclaimer, this watch has been lent into the channel. Now, as I like to do with all my reviews, let's start with some bad notes first. I try to diversify the range of models featured on this channel, though I generally try to keep the models shown at under $1,000. This is not your entry-level timepiece. It is for a different type of collector, one whose money is no object when making that buying decision. Bear that in mind as we continue, as I won't make any further remarks on expense. If you're watching this, you're likely a fan of the show or that potential buyer. Either way, watch on. The clasp featured on the Saxon one's alligator leather strap serves its purpose fine, but it lacks refinement in its mechanical operation. Once sized, you have to open up the sizing end to have the watch slip onto your wrist. Nearly every time I've gone to remove the Saxon one, protrusions from the clasp have dug into my fingers. These prongs are used to hold the clasp in place and are knowingly rounded for the wearer's comfort, but this is still a problem. I should not expect discomfort when removing or placing a watch on my wrist. This design needs to be revisited. I've owned a few vintage designs from Tutima with pin and collar systems to hold the bund or bracelet options in place. I absolutely dreaded that design, as strap fitting was never simple. It's improved on the Saxon one, but the proprietary bracelet or leather options are the only choices you'll have here. This is in fact a statement piece, so you'll doubtlessly keep it on the options provided. However, for those of us that prefer having all options available, it would have been nice to have a shrouded lug with perhaps a 24mm spring bar system in place. That's not to say this design looks bad, only that it's far less practical for us strap junkies. Though based on the Valjoux 7750, the Chronograph's layout and design is more in line with Lemania's 5100, a four-hander with hour and minute hand, as well as a centralized chronograph second and minute hand, a 12-hour track at the 6, seconds at the 9, and 24-hour scale at the 12. It even features a date in the same arrangement as Lemania's 5100, right over by the 3 o'clock position. It's not at all surprising they've gone with this modification in their caliber 521, as it's more in line with their vintage offerings that originally used Lemania's. It's clear Tutima took a lot of effort in repurposing the movement inside to pay respect to their heritage, and that's appreciated here on the Saxon one. Beyond the unique personality that the Saxon one in red provides, it accentuates features that would otherwise be understated. The faceted hour markers pop alongside their superluminova pips, and the contrast of the polished centered dial and sunburst finish of the subsidiary dials truly shines that much more. I know that the fire engine red color choice was meant to be more of a rebellious statement, but it somehow feels more in line with the Saxon one's agenda. To me, the Saxon one series is meant to be Tutima's dress chronograph, but furthermore an extension of the wearer's artistic sensibility through design. And what better way is there to celebrate that than painting the town red? As expected, the crown functionality is exquisite. The operation is simple, with 2 separate positions for time and date setting, as well as the ability to hand wind the mechanical movement to life before making any adjustments. The pushers are also refined and easily accessible by design, with just enough give before actuation. Marching around the case is a parade of brushed and polished details that highlight the geometric design of the Saxon one. Though I rarely used it, the bezel is a nice throwback to earlier Flieger designs, and instead of simply making it a design statement, it's a fully working bidirectional friction-based bezel. So if you're not in the mood to play with pushers, you can readily record time with the bezel instead. Now before I get to my verdict, let's take a look at the Saxon one in red on my 7¼ inch wrist. The Saxon one occupies the space between Tutima's M2 series and Grand Flieger. It's a hybrid between their more traditional military and dress watch designs. If you were looking for a starting point in Tutima's modern collection, the Saxon one chronograph is the route to go. This case language is what will carry Tutima into the future. Again, my name is Patrick Marlett, and thank you for the time.